Greetings. This video was on writing a persuasive conclusion for a Year 9 student at a B level. Now, if you've watched the previous video, you would know that there are 4 steps to writing a successful conclusion, and successfully showing evidence that you have met all 4 steps is the criteria to reaching a C level. Last lesson, we looked at the 4 steps, which were that we need to make a general statement about your topic, which is relevant to all paragraphs, summarize each of your paragraphs in 1 sentence each, bring all of these examples together and show how they are related, and then make a final resolving statement in the form of a recommendation or closing remark. Now, by ticking all of those boxes, we were able to put together a conclusion which showed evidence of structure and therefore hit the C level. What we're looking at today is how we could take that conclusion from the C level and upgrade it to a B level. Now, once again, as in all of our videos, you can see that the size of the text has increased when we're writing at a B level. So again, our word count increases, and that's largely because we're putting more detail into what we say, but it also means that we're giving more information per sentence, and that means that we are communicating more effectively about our issue. So, to quickly go through, we had our 4 sections for our C level, where essentially we started by saying, our first section was we had to make a general statement about the topic, which was relevant to all points. So we said, as we have shown in the above discussion, chewing gum should be banned. Now, in our B level, we've done the exact same thing, but once again, there's a higher level of complexity. If we read the beginning of this section, it says, as indicated in the above discussion, the banning of chewing gum would see a reduction in negative impacts to our health, social habits, and environment. So in this case, we've added more detail and we've been more specific about how our topic has addressed these 3 areas. You'll also notice a reduction in negative impacts and the banning of chewing gum are both examples of nominalisation. And you'll remember that in the B level, we should be seeing reasonably consistent use of nominalisation, even if it's not perfect or if there's room for it to be polished. When we look at the second section, we had to sum up each of our paragraphs in 1 sentence each. For the C level, that meant saying that we have discussed the way that chewing gum has negatively impacted our health. We have also shown how chewing gum can have an effect on social habits. And finally, we have shown that chewing gum also has negative impacts on our environment. Now, in this particular case, we've written 1 clear sentence about each paragraph. We haven't gone into a huge amount of detail about what each paragraph has been about, other than saying that one was about health, one was about social habits, and the other one was about the environment. In the B level, we've done a similar thing, but as you can probably guess, we've actually this time gone through and explained in more detail what each paragraph was about. This paragraph says, we have shown how the ingestion of chewing gum can result in minor disruption to the digestive system. So rather than simply saying chewing gum has a negative impact on health, we've actually gone right back to the guts of the example and the point that we were looking to make in that first paragraph, and we've summed it up a little bit more specifically. Similarly, in our second point, we have also demonstrated how the consumption of chewing gum in social settings has led to distraction, poor hygiene, and repulsive impressions. So once again, we can see that we've given a clearer example of exactly what has been detailed in that point. Finally, we have outlined the relationship between chewing gum disposal and the increasing level of waste and litter that has accumulated within our environment. Again, more specific, more information, more relevant to the direct examples that were being used, and by extension, more effective. Now, as well as that, we can see that the ingestion of chewing gum can result in minor disruption of the digestive system. We're using nominalisation. We've demonstrated how the consumption of chewing gum in social settings has led to distraction, poor hygiene, and repulsive impressions. That's all nominalised as well. Finally, we've outlined the relationship between chewing gum disposal, that's nominalised, and the increasing level of waste and litter that is accumulated in our environment. So in this case, the student's showing consistent nominalisation. Now there's room to be a bit more fluid in the way they're going about that, and there's room to be slightly less robotic in their writing, but that's a nice solid example of a B because they're nominalising their language and they're putting in that little bit more detail. As we go through, all of these elements highlight the facts that the sale and purchase of chewing gum has led to the detriment of our society, and that the removal of this product from retailers and outlets would significantly improve our standard of living. That's our third section, and what they had to do there was link together all of this information and show how it was related. In the C level, we did this as well, but we did it much less specifically and in much less detail. We said, all of this evidence demonstrates the fact that chewing gum should be banned. Once again, I spoke in the last video about the fact that we say chewing gum should be banned 3 or 4 times in this essay, and when you're writing at a B level, we want to avoid repetition and make sure we've got a variety of our language. Just a quick example, you can notice how we've said in the first part of the second section we said we have shown, then we said we have also demonstrated, and then we said finally we have outlined. Just in the use of language there, you can see that there's differences in the words that are being used. Whereas if we look at the C, we said we have discussed, and then we have shown, and then we said we have shown again. Alright, and we use words like discussion and all of this stuff. So you can see the actual diversity of the language. Lastly, we had the final statement, which was usually in the form of a recommendation. In our C level, all we had to say was that for the good of our society, we should look to ban chewing gum as soon as possible. The B level has done a very similar thing, but they've just improved and refined the language slightly. They have said, it is vital that we unite to rid the world of this harmful substance. And what they've actually done there is put in a persuasive device in terms of creating a sense of unity with the reader. And by doing that, it makes their piece more convincing. So, when we have a look at some of this stuff, we can see that we're putting in more detail, we can see that we're using nominalisation, and like we said before, there's also evidence of persuasive techniques. Even if there's only one, not to say that cause and effect isn't something else that's been used, but even if there was only one in here, it would still be an example of a B because it's reasonably consistent use of persuasive devices as well as nominalisation. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an indication about the difference between the C level and the B level conclusion. And remember, at this stage, all we have to do is make sure that we are definitely following these 4 steps. Okay, so structure is still an expectation and something really important. I hope that you're able to put this to use in your writing.